Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about my brand new Steam Deck. Actually, it's not really brand new. I've had it for about a week now, a little over a week. And that's what the subject of this video is. It's a first week impression, my personal impression of the Valve Steam Deck, which, if you can't tell, has been really good so far. I've loaded up a fair amount of software on this device, from indie games to, AAA titles and that type of stuff, and I've been really impressed with what's possible with the Steam Deck. It's obviously not perfect, and it is definitely a early adopter type of thing if you were to get a Steam Deck now. But from what I've experienced so far as a PC gamer, as someone who's got a bunch of titles in the Steam library and all that, this has been like one of my most anticipated types of devices for a long time. This is like the Switch that I've always wanted, essentially. So in terms of the feel, I'm really impressed with what Valve has done with like the design. They basically went for ergonomics over making it a nice, tight, compact device. I mean, obviously it is a tight, compact, small device, but they chose to make concessions for comfortability of handheld, playtime versus making it as compact as possible. And I think that's awesome. I think they did the right thing choosing to make it a comfortable feeling device. Like with the Switch, I usually get tired or my hands start cramping basically after about an hour or so using the Joy-Cons on a Switch. So I've always preferred to use like a Pro controller or something like that when I'm doing a longer game session with the Switch, or docking it to a TV than using the Pro controller. With the Steam Deck, I found myself playing hours of various games. In fact, I started playing Terraria again. I've really been enjoying playing Terraria on a Steam Deck, which I know is not like a powerhouse game or anything like that to load up on the Steam Deck, but I think it goes to show you it's a type of game that you grind or discover a lot, and you're doing a lot of the same similar controls and movements. And I found that the Steam Deck feels really great as a controller device to play a game like Terraria for hours and hours and hours. I also started playing Monster Hunter Rise, and it plays incredible. I'm not sure if the new DLC is fully compatible yet on the Steam Deck. They still have the thing that says like an exclamation, like they don't know if it's truly compatible yet. So there might be some things that need to be worked out in there. And that is one of the things about this device. It's a hybrid, focused type of gaming device where it's running on a Linux operating system with Steam's Proton layer, whatever it is, to be able to play Windows games on a Linux device. It does an amazing job. We just had the Steam demo event here, and I played a bunch of Steam demos that are from like basically indie small developers, and I'm pretty sure the majority of those didn't have Steam Decks to be able to try out their demo on, and it basically played flawless for me. I didn't have a single time where I was like, this is unplayable or not working. So in order for that to happen, like there's a lot of technological maneuvering that has to exist for the Steam Deck to work basically flawless for me. So that's really amazing. I mean, that technology is working, and it's only going to get better as time goes by, as they fix stuff and all that. So I digress. Back to ergonomics. This feels really fantastic in the hands. When I first saw it, I was worried about the controls being so tight to the corners right here, and they did a great job of putting it right there because it feels so comfortable. Like the Steam Deck goes right in my palm, and then just has a nice curve, and then the thumb placement is perfect. Like it's so comfortable. And the width as well, having it be just wide enough, not too wide, but not too narrow. It's obviously wider than a regular controller, but this width just feels perfect. It's bigger and clunkier for putting in a backpack or something like that. I mean, obviously you can backpack this, but you can't really pocket it unless you have Jinko jeans. A little throwback right there. So, the pocket ability, very limited. I mean, the Switch, you can't really pocket that much either. I mean, you could, but it's pushing the limit right there. It's one of those things where they made the concession to make it bigger, make the screen relatively large in comparison to other mobile devices. I mean, my phone, I have an iPhone 13 Pro here. And you can see the screen size. Actually, I should get my Switch. Let me go do that real quick. Okay, my Switch that I bought not too long ago. As you can see, it's a bit bigger. The Switch doesn't look that much smaller on screen, but in reality, like the actual screen starts in right there. And it's a similar type of thing with the Steam Deck here. I'll turn these on. On this above camera on screen, the differences don't look massive right there. But to me, from a handheld experience, they are considerable. You know, obviously this is lighter. It's a lighter experience, and it's the Nintendo ecosystem and all that stuff. So I'm not saying that the Switch is bad by any means, don't get me wrong. But what I am saying is that I really like the Steam Deck. It just fits, it feels really good. It is heavier, like I said, but it's not too heavy. You know, it's made of this like, you know, future plastic type of stuff. It's not gonna be extremely heavy. It's got enough weight to feel like, you know, you're holding something on there. I've been using this like in bed, on the couch, around the house, essentially, and it's felt great. Haven't had any situations where I'm like, oh man, I'm getting like, you know, tired of holding this device and playing it. On the contrary, I find myself wanting to play it more and more and more and more. So yeah, ergonomics, they feel really good. And another thing that I think is a big difference in comparison to the Switch versus a Steam Deck, if you are looking for those type of comparisons, is the Joy-Con joysticks are very like mobile feeling. They don't really feel like true joysticks. That's why I always use like a Pro Controller instead, because obviously the Pro Controller is going to have a better throw of the joysticks. The Steam Deck has full, or it feels like anyways, full length joysticks on there. So it feels like a full controller. It doesn't feel like I'm playing like a limited version of a controller. And I haven't even talked about the paddles yet. We'll get to that in a second. But the overall feel is like I'm playing like a legit controller, which for me, I really appreciate that. The paddles are actually really intelligent. Now, initially when I was first using it, I was trying to press the paddles on the side like this. Make sure I'm not pressing anything. It's considerably harder to press the side of these paddles than it is the intended way, which is to directly press down on them, like so. I guess because the paddle is so large on the Steam Deck, you know, it's taking up so much surface area, I kind of assumed that I could just press the whole area. And like I said, you can, but it's significantly harder on the side. So you're better off just like directly pressing down. Like you get used to the idea of it's more of a click when you're directly pressing instead of trying to like clench the sides. It's really that experience is on me. It's other people might not even think to press the sides. Now, one thing you might be worried about is accidentally bumping these and then doing something in the game. So because they are kind of tucked away, it's another one of these situations where it feels really good and it doesn't really get in the way. You don't accidentally, bump your the paddles easily. So that's another great design choice that Steam did. The other fantastic choice is that per game, you can basically just go in and choose how you want the game to operate on here. So I think you can go controller on here, and you can edit the layout. And you can tell it if you want the back grips. You can tell the back grips if you want them to do a specific command in the game. So what's really nice is this is customizable per game. Whereas on a regular like Xbox or PS5 or something like that, if you have a controller with paddles, those are pre-mapped to X, Y, A, B, and all that. So yeah, really nice customizable feature right there where those paddles don't have to work with every game. In fact, a lot of the games don't seem to have the paddles activated. I had to go in and actually set commands for a lot of the games. Like add command, then you choose, you know, like if I want A to be activated with that particular, with L4, which one's L4? L4 is this one, yeah. So if I wanted to activate the A button with that, I could just map it right here. Oops. There, A button is mapped. Let's remove it. Get rid of that command. Yay! Another thing that is surprisingly functional are these trackpads. And right now you're not hearing anything, but when they're activated, when the trackpads are actually in use on the Steam Deck, they give you this haptic feedback. So it actually feels like you're rolling a ball, like a trackball type of thing. Really smart, really cool. And then also the left trackpad also doubles as it basically doubles as your diagonal movement, your up, down, left, right. So again, one of these things that's just really smart, like really well done. And obviously they push in so they can activate something. But a lot of the games, if they don't have like a controller support type of thing, you can actually use basically trackpad type of thing, and then the triggers become clicks, mouse clicks. And then you can also do a thing where you hold Steam and press the left button, and it'll zoom in for a mouse situation, so you can actually get a finer selection with the trackpad. Although I will say that the trackpad has felt really good for menu selection. on games that need to use a mouse. So, but I do want to underscore the fact that this is a first impressions. I've had it for just over a week. You know, I haven't played like a whole month, and I haven't played like, you know, all of Monster Hunter Rise DLC or something like that, clearly. So, you know, my impressions could change over time, but I don't think so, because I've really been enjoying it. Another thing too is the speakers seem really good, and you can actually tell left and right really easily. At least I could anyways. I actually haven't used headphones once yet. My particular model is the 512 gig model. It is the anti-reflection screen, the most expensive one, which was $640 or something like that. In terms of the screen, I don't know what a OLED switch feels like. I do have an iPhone 13 Pro, which is technically OLED, so this is obviously not going to give you real world experience on a video, but if you can see a difference on here, then that kind of gives you an idea. My personal experience has been I haven't been disappointed in the screen at all. In fact, I think the screen looks great. I think what I've seen so far and all the games I've played have looked really nice. So if it was OLED, yeah, that would be better for sure. Probably be another 100 or 200 bucks more as well. So I don't know, like, would you be the type of person to want to spend 800 bucks because it's OLED? Or would you rather spend 600 on like a 64 gig model if you had an OLED screen option? I don't know. I mean, those things could be coming down the road in the future, because it does seem like the Steam Deck is popular, and that's good because it's going to get more support, more software features and stuff. If you're a Destiny player, there's a huge caveat in that it just straight up does not work whatsoever on the Steam Deck, and that's unfortunate. Or you could install Windows as well, which I do not want to install a new operating system on here. I actually really like the whole Steam Deck OS type of experience that you get with this. The Steam button, then being able to go, you know, check out your library and all this stuff. Like, this feels really good. It's not perfect, but it feels good enough for me as a Steam user, you know. So I'm definitely not interested in putting Windows on here so I can play Destiny. Hopefully in the future, Bungie works with Valve to make their anti-cheat work with the Steam OS Proton layer type of stuff, because it's technically emulating some Windows device library type of things, and that's why the anti-cheat gets thrown and then you get blocked or kicked or whatever, banned out of the Destiny world, which would suck. I have tried to stream Destiny from my main PC to the Steam Deck, and it did not work. Specifically, what happened is the controller interface on the Steam Deck just doesn't work with Destiny for some reason. Like, I have no idea why. I actually haven't done any research on it either. I played other games with the Steam streaming, and it had no problem loading up a game on my PC and having the controls work and everything. But for some reason, Destiny just didn't recognize any of the inputs on the Steam Deck. So as it is currently in July of 2022, if you are buying this for a Destiny experience, then it could be really terrible. I mean, the Windows experience is probably decent. And also Game Pass, you know, it'd be nice to have Game Pass directly working on the Steam OS. Like, currently you have to install Windows for an Edge browser, at least I think you do, then go through the Game Pass stream, Xbox streaming type of thing to make that work, which, you know, again, there's a bunch of hoops you got to jump through. But hopefully down the road, maybe months or a year later, something like that, more things will be supporting the Steam Deck. It'd be crazy to have Game Pass on here. Oh my god. Oh, one final thing before I finish off this video. I did put a... where is it? Storage. Look at that. I put a micro SD card in here as well. So I started out, I had, you know, I've got 512 gigs of internal storage on the Steam Deck. And then I threw a 512 gig chip, a Samsung chip, which I'll link in the description below in case you're looking to buy one of those. I think they had a terabyte one, but I didn't want to spend that. I don't need a terabyte additional of stuff. Like, I still have 200 gig free out of a 512 gig SD card. And I still have 200 gig free in the internal. So I've got like a terabyte of storage, and I've got a bunch of games loaded on here. I have plenty of room for more games. But yeah, it was super effortless. In fact, once you put an SD card in there, the operating system automatically defaults to that for installing new games. Because at first I was like, hey, which, you know, I need to choose where to install it. And it just auto picks the SD card. But overall, really awesome experience. I'm absolutely loving the Steam Deck, and I can't wait to play more of it, honestly. Like, new games that come out and just stuff that is supporting it. I'm excited to play on it. Obviously, I still have my 3070 PC, the RTX 3070, and I still play on the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and all that. And the Switch, but a lot less so nowadays, now that I have the Steam Deck. If you have any questions about the Steam Deck from a personal perspective, definitely drop them in the comments below. Would love to hear it. If you have the Steam Deck and you like it, dislike it, you know, love to hear the comments below as well. I am planning on doing maybe like a full review type of thing in a month or so. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. You know, you can subscribe to the channel, but I don't really post very often on this channel, as you can tell. That might change. You never know. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, drop a comment below, subscribe if you want, and I will see you in the next one. Deuces.